Welcome back to the HannahCast YouTube channel, and today I'm going to be ranking every Pixar movie. Yeah, we're going to be going through this tier list, this is all in order of when the movies came out, and I caught up with a couple of Pixar movies that I hadn't seen before to make this list. I still have not seen Inside Out 2, so I guess we might as well just put that in haven't seen. But yeah, I caught up with a couple of films that I haven't seen before, like The Good Dinosaur and Cars 3, so there we go. I've seen, other than Inside Out 2, I have seen every single Pixar film to date. So yeah. Let's start with the first film, alright? It's Toy Story. Now, everyone loves Toy Story. Toy Story started it all with Pixar. It was groundbreaking, and honestly, I think it is one of the, pivotal moments in film in general. It changed the game in how animation was going to be done, and kind of single-handedly helped kill 2D animation. But still, you know, that has nothing to do with the quality of the film. It's just a matter of observation. But, Toy Story, again, it was a groundbreaking film. It's really, I know some people will kind of dunk on this film, the dog looks kind of weird. And, you know, yeah, sure. But also at the same time, you kind of had to have those moments in the Toy Story, those kind of weird modeling moments to get to where we are now with Pixar and CGI animation in general. So it's you're gonna have to go through some of those things if you're the first. And Toy Story is a classic. You know, it has very funny writing, very funny characters, very poignant. And overall, I don't really have much to complain about. It's A tier. Obviously, Toy Story is just pure A tier. So yeah. Then we get to A Bug's Life. This one is a sort of controversial in a way. Some people will say oh man, love Bug's Life. I love that film. It's great. And then other people are as a follow-up to Toy Story, it's kind of eh. I honestly am with the group that says, oh yeah, hell yeah, let's go, Bug's Life. A Bug's Life is great, really charming. Have we seen that story done before at times? Sure, but I feel like it's done with enough charm, with enough interesting characters to actually, you know, not suffer from that. I think maybe Toy Story might be better, or maybe, I don't know, I'm kind of, you know, juggling between those two. But A Bug's Life, it's a classic. Again, I think A Bug's Life is great, and it's way better than Ants. Ants can go suck it, alright? Now we have Toy Story 2. Once again, trying to do a follow-up to Toy Story is kind of risky. But I thought Toy Story, I thought it was even better than the first, if I'm going to be completely honest. I thought it was a lot of fun. Arguably even more poignant moments. The comedy is even better. The animation's even better. I mean, overall, I think Toy Story 2, I should say, is an improvement on the first film. I don't think I'm going to quite put Toy Story 2 in S tier, but I will put it in A tier. It is an improvement on the first film. So yeah. And then we get to Monsters, Inc. And this film was the first Pixar film to be nominated for Best Animated Feature at the Oscars when the category was first introduced, but it lost to Shrek, and to be honest, I don't understand that. Look, I get it, why everyone loved Shrek back then, but if you're asking me, Monsters, Inc. is way better. It's way better in every single... The jokes hold up more. The characters are a lot more fascinating. Oh my god. The characters, Sully and Mike, they're back and forth. It's really funny. The heart, I think, is even more impactful. Way more impactful than Shrek. Monsters, Inc. I thought was just way better than Shrek ever was. So it's yeah. I don't and also, you know, Randy Newman's score, is amazing in this filming. He did a lot of scoring for the Pixar films, and this is one of his best works. And that song, you know, If I Didn't Have You, oh my god. What a bop. I love Monsters, Inc. Monsters, Inc. is maybe one of the best animated films ever made, so I will put that in S tier, alright? We got our first S tier with Monsters, Inc., alright? Next, we get to Finding Nemo. Ooh, honestly, this three that we're coming up to, Monsters, Inc., Finding Nemo, and The Incredibles. We'll get to that here in a second, but Finding Nemo. This is, in my opinion, if you're going to ask me, this might actually be Pixar's best movie. Like, this actually might be their best movie. Like, this is just, again, really funny, but also really heartfelt. I think this is definitely like one of those Pixar films that's kind of more geared towards adults, because like I think only the adults will understand like the heavy weight and drama of this story. At least when it gets to the dramatic scenes. It's absolutely wonderful. Like, all the characters are fascinating. The world that this movie creates, even though it's literally just the Great Barrier Reef, like, it's so imaginative. My God. And oh God, Thomas Newman's score. Oh my God, absolutely wonderful. And also, Willem Dafoe plays a fish in the movie, so that's a plus. So yeah, honestly, again, for me, this might be Pixar's best film. All right, it might be. The reason why I say might is because The Incredibles is also contending for that slot. Like, The Incredibles is like so freaking good. Like, I even watched it like a few weeks ago. Man, that movie holds up. That movie holds up so well. And again, I feel like adults would understand a lot more about this film than kids would. Because, like, yeah, kids, they're going to say, wow, cool, superhero stuff. And the adults are in the audience are going to go, yeah, wow, cool, superhero stuff. But also, I really relate to Mr. Incredible right now. I really relate to him. And yeah, I got it. Like, yeah. Oh my God. All the powers are really cool. Honestly, I think The Incredibles was the first film where like superhero powers were finally like fully realized on screen. Although, granted, you did also have Spider-Man 2. I guess Spider-Man 2 did come out before, because that really showcased Spider-Man's powers way better than the first one did. But The Incredibles, I feel like, with given how many superheroes are in this film and how many different powers they have, like, it really feels like something no one had ever seen before up to that point. Like, no one had ever thought, at this point in time, you could not do any of this in live action. And nowadays you probably could, but again, The Incredibles, like, really put it out there. Like, yeah, you can do these things in film, and it was so cool. And also the score is so good. My God, how in the world did Michael Giacchino's score not get nominated for an Oscar? Like, how? Like, what? But still, The Incredibles, absolutely fantastic. It's up there with Finding Nemo. I think Finding Nemo is just a little bit above it. But again, like, it's not like, yeah, like it's you're in good company if you're competing with The Incredibles and Finding Nemo. Oh, well, sure, came on button, whatever. And then we get to Cars. I don't think Cars is as bad as some people say it is. I do think it's good. I think Cars is a good movie. Actually, I would probably say really good, actually. But it's not great. It's not one of, Pixar's best films. And so, yeah, like, it is a bit of a step down. But still, I quite enjoyed Cars, actually, quite a bit. So I'm going to put it in, like, a high B tier. It's high B. Yeah, high B. But then we have Ratatouille. A lot of people will say, oh, man, yeah, this was a return to form for Pixar. And again, it earned Brad Bird another Oscar for Best Animated Feature. And I liked Ratatouille quite a bit, although, admittedly, I don't love it. I don't love Ratatouille. Again, it does have some great moments in there. Actually, no, not great moments. It is a very good film, but do I love it as much as, like, actually, no, I probably wouldn't say I even loved Ratatouille. I don't know, maybe a lot of it just didn't stick for, like, not didn't really stick in my mind as soon as, like, or as much. But then, like, I don't know. The more I'm thinking about Ratatouille, the more I do actually very much enjoy it. So again, high B tier. I do think Ratatouille is very, very good, but I don't think it's like quite great level in my opinion. But that's just a hot take. And speaking of hot takes, we have WALL-E. WALL-E. This was a film that was so popular in 2008 that when it got snubbed for Best Picture along with The Dark Knight, people were mad. And I think WALL-E's fine. I actually don't love Wall-E. Although then again, it might be more sort of a lukewarm take because like there are people out there who don't really like Wall-E all that much. I still like it. I think it's fine, but you know, like my opinion when it comes to this is generally the same as a lot of people, where it's like, you know, the scenes on Earth are amazing, like just pure visual storytelling, and it's just like, damn, like shot number one, like the first frame of the movie, and you know exactly what the message is. It's fantastic. But then they go to the planet with the people, like not the spaceship with the people on it, and it's like, it's just not really all that interesting. So yeah, I'd probably put Wall-E in very low B tier. Even among some of these other films, I would put it low B tier. Then we get to Up. All right, you man, this is a movie I feel like gets better as I age, because like I remember liking Up quite a bit when I was a kid, but I didn't really love it. But nowadays it's like, man, this movie's really clever. Like not, I mean, yeah, obviously the opening like 5 minutes of the movie is like some of the best like you'll see in any kind of animated film. But I don't think the movie falls off from that point. Like, all right, is it as good as those first 5 minutes? No, but like it's still like some of Pixar's best. Like, it is fantastic. The characters are really funny. The dog, where it's like, so we must get these people, or like whatever, with that really high pitched voice on such a fierce looking Doberman. That's really funny. I think it just works. Like, I really like these characters. I really like the humor. The heart of the movie is probably some of the most heartbreaking you'll see in a Pixar film. And so yeah, I would put Up in S tier. Absolutely. It's fantastic. And then we get to, oh, and also I should also mention, Up was the first Pixar movie to be nominated for Best Picture at the Oscars. And then we get to the second and so far final film to be nominated for Best Picture at the Oscars, Toy Story 3. Now, back then, people fell in love with this movie. Like, my God, like people were like through the roof. Like, man, Toy Story 3 is the shit. And then in recent years, people are going, is it really? Is it really though? And from my perspective, I kind of have to side with the people that were praising this movie back then. It's like, Toy Story 3 is just that good. It's just fantastic. I don't know, like, honestly, I think it's probably the best we've seen out of any Toy Story film. Like, it is, like, it's just that powerful. It's just such a powerful film and a powerful note to end on, even though it didn't end, but still. Love Toy Story 3, especially the heart. My God, like the movie, like by the end, it's like, yeah, okay, I'm tearing up. This is working on me. Love Toy Story 3, fantastic film. I'm gonna put it in. Ooh, do I put? You know, I'll probably put it above Up, but I'll put it between Monsters Inc. and Up. But yeah, I don't really have any complaints over Toy Story 3. It's just a really funny, really heartfelt film that, and oh my God, the freaking, like, incinerator saying, good God, how is this movie rated G? But yeah. And then we go from that to Cars 2. Woo! Let's go! Because everyone really wanted a sequel to Cars. I mean, then again, there probably were people that were wanting a sequel to Cars. But, man, talk about a drop-off in quality. Like, man, we're riding high with, like, you know, more movies that people were upset didn't get nominated for Best Picture, like Ratatouille and Wall-E, and then two that did get nominated for Best Picture with Up and Toy Story 3, and then, boom, the first Pixar film to get bad, like, majority bad reviews. That is astounding. My God. Like, how Cars 2 fumbled the bag. So, okay, well, let's see. For one, like, okay, I should say, I don't think Cars 2 is awful. I don't think it's, like, awful bad. We're gonna get some of the really, really bad ones here in a bit. But I don't think Cars 2 is, like, the worst. Like, okay, well, it's one of the worst of Pixar. It is a bad film of theirs. But there are some redeeming things about it. Like there are maybe a couple of interesting gags that I thought, or like a couple of gags I thought were funny. But overall, I mean, yeah, my complaints about this film are the same as everyone else. Like, why is this like a spy action film? Why is Mater the main character? Like, wasn't this just a movie series about racing? Hell, like, even then, it's not the most interesting thing that you could make out of a film franchise. Like, why are we doing this? So yeah, I get like Cars 2. I'm kind of. It's just kind of beating around the bush at this point. It's like, yeah, what else can you complain about with Toy Story? No, not Toy Story, with Cars 2. God, I'm thinking of better Pixar movies at this point. So yeah, I don't think it's the worst. I'd probably give it a low C, like a C minus something. It's not the worst. It's not horrible. But, you know, it's down there. It's down there. Then we get to Brave. All right, Brave. This one is a lot more divisive. People really think like Brave is like is also one of Pixar's worst. You know, it won the Oscar for Best Animated Feature, and people were like, "Why? Why did it win this?" And I actually saw this movie for the first time last year, and this is my hot take. I think Brave is actually pretty great. Like, yeah, I really do think Brave is great. I love Brave. I like the character Merida. I think she's one of the more interesting Disney princesses to me. The conflict, I think, is very fascinating. I do think we probably could have explored the lore a bit, especially regarding, you know, this one character that has like a legend about him or something. And maybe the witch could have been a little bit less modern. But still, I very much enjoyed Brave. I think Brave is, honestly... Here it comes. Low A. I'm sorry. I really, really like Brave. I think Brave is, like, again, I think Brave's great. So, yeah. Then we get to Monsters University, which, up until a few hours ago, this was the worst Pixar movie I had ever seen. This is a bit of a hot take. I think, instead of, like, making fun of cliched college movies, Monsters University just became another cliched college movie and didn't really do anything to, like, satirize them. And even then, the characters are not really well realized. It's just like, oh, what if Mike Sully... what Mike Sully? What if Sully was, like, this jock and, like, Mike Wazowski is, like, the kind of nerd? It's like, I don't know. I don't think we needed to see them meet. And especially here, it's like, I don't really get their friendship. I don't, like when we see them in Monsters, Inc., it's like, I don't see the connection between Monsters University and Monsters, Inc. Like, I really don't understand that. So, yeah. I do like the message of the film, but again, it's just very bland. And speaking of bland, the character designs are the absolute worst. Like, oh my god. Obviously, aside from the characters that, you know, that we had previously established, and honestly, aside from, like, Emma Thompson's character, the Dean, every other character has, like, the worst designs in the world. It's like, it's just like, here, like, you know, 4 basic designs, and maybe give this character a couple of different arms, maybe give this one fur, maybe it gets a few eyes or something. It's like, they all look like something from Build-A-Bear Workshop or something. It's like, I can describe so many different monsters in Monsters, Inc. Like, there's that one with, like, the little legs with the big mouth where someone has to, like, brush his teeth. There's that one who's, like, really big and he puts on a bunch of eyes, and then, one of them falls, and it's like, it's just like, I can describe so many different monsters from Monsters, Inc. I can't describe to you any of the characters from Monsters University other than maybe some of them look like slugs, some of them, like, have 2 heads. It's just it's just, the designs are so boring in Monsters University. I'm sorry, I do not like this film. I think it's bad. I think it's worse than Cars 2. Ugh. So yeah. Now let's get to Inside Out, which rebound, boo-boo. But yeah, I love Inside Out. Inside Out is just as masterful as a lot of other people say. The way the movie tackles emotion is so strong. Like, it's unbelievable. I remember I saw this in theaters. I cried like 3 times in the movie. Like, it's just absolutely wonderful. Like, the characters are all like the core emotions are just all perfect. The way it's the way we're sort of seeing what the emotions do and how they interfere with Riley's life. Oh my god. And it's not even like Riley is an uninteresting character. Like, they make Riley very interesting. And especially when we actually learn more about her through her mind, it's like, man, I can really see where she's coming from in a lot of this. Like, that's the thing. You gotta make sure Riley's interesting if you're gonna make a movie about where we're constantly in Riley's mind. And so I really, really like that about Inside Out. It's fantastic. I'm going to say, honestly, better than Toy Story 3. Not as good as, like, the core 3, Monsters, Inc., Incredibles, and Finding Nemo, but damn, Inside Out comes close. And we're going to get even closer here in a bit. Then we get to one of the films that I most recently watched today in order to complete this. The Good Dinosaur. Now, oh boy. The Good Dinosaur. Everyone was telling me, oh man, like, you think some of these movies are bad? Wait till you get to The Good Dinosaur. I'm like, surely The Good Dinosaur cannot be that bad, people. Like, come on. Like, it's a movie about a dinosaur and a boy. Like, okay, like, it might be kind of mid, but I don't know. It might, I don't know. I actually got uncomfortable watching The Good Dinosaur. I actually got uncomfortable. Oh my god. Like, how did they fuck this movie up so much? Like, what in the world? Like, there are so many problems with this movie. One, the world building makes absolutely no sense. Like, okay, these dinosaurs have now sort of evolved enough intelligence to have a bit of a society. Like, there's these Apatosauruses have like a farm, but like, how did they make nets? How did they make the gates or fences or anything like that? It's like, you see like ropes that they had to tie, but it's like, how did they tie the ropes? Like, they don't have thumbs. They don't have any of that. And like, there's a scene where like they're trying to, where they show you, the viewer, you know, them building like this trap for a critter that keeps taking their corn. But here's the problem. They only show you like little bits and pieces of that, because they never show you like how they actually loop a rope around into, like, so they can tie it into a knot. They show you the end result of that, where it's like, or like they pull a thing and the rope is tied up. But it's like, how'd you get it through how'd you actually get it through? Like, how'd you loop the thing around? You don't have thumbs. You don't have any kind of opposable features. It's just so confusing. Like how did any of this come to be? Like, how? And on top of that, oh my god, like the humans, like they make the humans like into like dogs, sort of. Like they'll like howl and like scratch behind their ears or something. It's like, I don't like this. This is giving me the ick. I don't like this at all. And so, yeah, and what else is there? Oh god, the music admittedly got on my nerves, because it's like, you know, oh, like the fucking banjo music whenever they're back home. It's like, oh man, the, you know, good old fashioned homey kind of, you know, music. Oh man, that's where the heart is, home. And it's like, oh, I hate that so much. And also, another thing I hate about The Good Dinosaur is that, oh god, this movie tries to have visual storytelling, but the visual storytelling is for fucking 5-year-olds. And don't try to tell me, well, it's a Pixar movie, so it's for kids. It's like, no, there's visual storytelling in Finding Nemo, Monsters, Inc., Inside Out, all these movies. They did it way better. Like, you can have, like, the thing with visual storytelling is that it's like, yeah, it's supposed to be like a metaphor, but it's not so blatantly obvious to where you're literally acting like the audience is stupid. And that's what The Good Dinosaur does. It tries to have like these really poignant moments, like, oh, the characters are technically not talking and it's a metaphor, but it's like, god, it's like everything is spelled out for you. And even then, during these, you know, visual storytelling scenes, like, the characters will just talk and explain everything. There's so much bad exposition in this film, and it's just annoying. This movie is annoying, and it's unsettling for me. I don't, like, man, I'm sorry. Like, okay, like, I thought for the longest time, no Pixar movie could be worse than Monsters University. fuck that. No, The Good Dinosaur is like very low D tier. The only reason why I'm not giving it an F is because the animation is actually pretty spectacular. Like, this movie came out like 9 years ago and it looked that good. Like, I would have been convinced like some of this was real at the time. So yeah, I really do not like The Good Dinosaur. It's almost like Shrek level bad for me, and like that's another hot take. But yeah, fuck Monsters University. Well yeah, fuck Monsters University, but fuck The Good Dinosaur even more. Oh my god, I got angry watching that film. Then we get to Finding Dory. All right, Finding Dory. This is one of those films that a lot of people like seem to really like at first, but then as the years went on, people have kind of grown cold towards Finding Dory. And I don't know, I think Finding Dory was great. I mean, is it as good as Finding Nemo? No, absolutely not. But I felt like for a film that I thought did not need to exist, it actually was very funny, very creative. I like the way they showed, you know, Dory's, like, visually kind of showed her mind working, and like it was done very, very well. I thought that was very strong. The new characters are very creative. Hank the Octopus, my god, that was an amazing like character. Like, I don't know how they did that. So yeah, I'm gonna put Finding Dory in A tier. Honestly, a little bit above Brave. I do think Finding Dory was pretty. Do I want to say underrated? A little bit underrated, because people did really like it when it came out, but it's like people kind of either forgot about it or just don't really love it anymore. And then we get to Cars 3. Okay, Cars 3. This one goes back to the basics when it comes to the franchise. You know, it's not like a big spy thriller anymore. It's still weird that, like, with this Cars trilogy, like, Cars 2... was the car, they decided to just go the spy route with Cars 2, and it's just like, all right, what? But regardless, I think it's better than Cars 2, but man, I don't know. This movie is also just not very I'm not going to remember Cars 3 in the slightest. Like, it's not that there's anything really awful about the film or that cringe. It's just a very kind of mid film. It really, yeah, that's the thing. It's a mid film. Because I do again, I like the overall message of, you know, with how Lightning McQueen is getting older, but it's also like it doesn't really do much with it. It's just like, okay, maybe it doesn't do much. Maybe I shouldn't say that, but it's also like, again, it's just like, it's just I could not really tell you a single line of dialogue from this movie. So it's above Cars 2, but Cars 3 is just not very memorable. Like, nowhere near, that's really, I legitimately am kind of running out of things to say about it. It's just kind of like, like, it like, passed like a little bit less than 2 hours, so, And then we're getting to another kind of mid-film, but which is also a bit of a hot take, and that is Coco. Coco, now, I will say I think this is probably better than Cars 3 a little bit, but like, again, it's just kind of like, like, at the same time with with Coco, I think my thing with Coco is not that it's not memorable, but my problem with Coco is that the jokes are just not funny, and the story is kind of cliched. Like, oh man, we can't play music, like that's a family thing, like we don't like playing music. It's like, but I want to play music, I want to follow my dreams. It's like, God, can we stop doing this kind of story? It's not interesting. And then we get to like the actual dead world, and it's like, this could look more interesting. This could look more like the skeleton people don't really have any kind of style to them. It's just like, oh yeah, they're kind of there, you know. And the dog, oh my god, I hate the dog. Like, that hairless dog in the movie. I hate that dog. Somebody take that dog out to the back of the shed and shoot it, because I hate that dog. It's like the Scrat of this movie. This dog is basically Scrat. I hate it. Now, that being said, there are some good things about the movie. Mainly, you know, the ending. The ending is perfect. Like, I did tear up during the ending of Coco. And if the movie was like that, like, if it had that kind of heart, I would be more I would like this movie a lot more. But again, it's just the jokes fall flat and the story and the overall crux of the story is just not very interesting. And also the villain. Why is there a villain in this movie? There did not need to be a villain in Coco. So yeah, I'm gonna put this in C tier, a little bit of a higher C, which I didn't think I'd put it in that high in C, but this would be like a C plus for me, maybe a C, I don't know. But yeah. And then we get to another film that has generated some controversial opinions, and that is Incredibles 2. Probably the most anticipated Pixar film of all time. Like, I genuinely don't think there's ever been like a Pixar film that has had that much hype. Ever. Because like everyone was saying, if you're going to do a sequel to you know, a Pixar film, why are you doing it with Monsters, Inc.? Why are you doing it with Cars? Do it with The Incredibles. Like, The Incredibles practically gift wraps a sequel just to be made. And when it came out, people liked it a lot back then. But once Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse came out, then people went, oh, well, no, this is the superhero movie we're going to latch to. Incredibles 2, mid. I think Incredibles 2 is actually great. I think it's actually a very, very worthy sequel to these films. I think, honestly, like, I don't know what else I could have really wanted from this film. Now, do I think, you know, the villain, the Screenslaver, which is just an amazing name for a villain, do I think the Screenslaver is anywhere near as good of a villain as Syndrome? No, and that's probably the one thing I would agree with people on, is that the villain is nowhere near as good as or as interesting as the one in the first. But admittedly, this is the part where I do disagree with people. I actually didn't see the twist coming because I did see a twist coming. Like, I knew this, like, one of the characters was going to be revealed to be the Screenslaver, but, you know, I'm not going to give away spoilers, but I thought it was someone else. Like, when coming into The Incredibles 2, I was like, okay, this person is so clearly the Screenslaver, and it's just annoying, like, come on. And then, oh, wait, no, it's not that person, it's someone else. I was like, okay, movie, you actually caught me off guard. You actually caught me off guard right there. Good job. And I'm not gonna lie, like, I kind of like seeing what happens after the first Incredibles. Like, the actual Underminer battle is so fun. Like, seeing how Helen Parr, I think her name is Helen. Yeah, like, seeing her go off to do her own thing while Dad stays at home, I think is really funny, especially when he starts to, like, oh my god, Jack is really, really funny in this. Like, they have a lot of fun with his powers, and I think that's one of the things that really helps this movie, is that because it's been so long since the first Incredibles, technology has gotten way better, and animation has gotten way better, so we're able to see so many other powers being introduced here, and it's so cool to watch. Especially, like, oh my god, like, oh god, like, Incredibles 2, I think is great. It's a very worthy follow-up. Yeah, the villain isn't as strong as Syndrome, but honestly, especially with how Disney's been with their villains, it could have been worse. It could have been like Big Hero 6 levels of, like, forgettable. Whereas with, you know, Incredibles 2, I actually do remember what the Screenslaver does. I actually do like I do like it. And I do actually think the story is compelling. And honestly, hot take, high A tier. Yeah. Like, a very, very strong film. And this is good, yeah. And here comes another big hot take from me, or maybe a lukewarm take, because, I don't know, people are kind of all over the place with Toy Story 4. A lot of people will say, well, no, this is where the Toy Story franchise died. No, why are we doing this? Like, you know, it's mid, bleh. I'm not gonna lie, I think Toy Story 4 is great. I really, really like Toy Story 4. Again, I was coming into this movie thinking, man, why are we doing another Toy Story movie? Like, come on. Toy Story 3 ended it perfectly. But man, the movie's really funny. The movie's really funny, and I do like and granted, the heartfelt moments aren't as strong as the first, as Toy Story 3. But at the same time, like, I don't know if this is the kind of film that needs to be. like the way this movie wraps up, it's like, you know what? Yeah, this makes sense. Now, granted, I don't know how they're going to do Toy Story 5, given, where Woody is now. So, that's going to complicate things. Unless they just don't have Woody in it at all, but I don't know. But I do think Toy Story 4 is great, and I would say Toy Story 4... Yeah, I'll put it between Toy Story and Toy Story 2. Again, yeah, pretty big hot take, but you know what? Look, I think Toy Story 4 was just great. I can't really complain that much about it. Then we get to Onward, the start of the 2020s era of Pixar, which admittedly has not been the greatest. But let's just talk about Onward. I think Onward is it's very good. Honestly, I think it's pretty good, honestly. Like, I do really like the ending for Onward, but admittedly, like, a lot of it is fine. A lot of it is good. It's good, charming, but it's not one of Pixar's best. I do like what's ultimately becomes the antagonist of the film. That was really funny, but like, again, it's just like, the world is not really the most interesting that they create. I don't really think the world is that fascinating, but again, it's not a bad movie. It's still very good, but or maybe pretty good. Maybe pretty good is the best way to describe it. But yeah, again, really like the ending. The ending is fantastic, but But not even really. It's just like, it's good. It's a good, fine movie. But It's not the most funny Pixar movie out there. It's not the most heartfelt. It's just like, it's just good, solid. Yeah. Then we get to a film that finally challenges like that top three, in my opinion. Like Monsters Inc., Incredibles, and Finding Nemo. And that film is Soul. Oh my god, the moment that they announced this film, I was like, this is going to be a masterpiece. This is going to do it. And the fact that they paired Pete Docter for this film, I was like, let's go, man. Like, Pete Docter, he's like the GOAT director here. And yeah, he did a phenomenal job with Soul. Soul was every bit as yeah, it was pretty funny and whatnot, but it was every bit as what's the best word I'm looking forward to describe this? It was every bit as thought-provoking as I thought it would be. It really did live up to those expectations. I mean, oh my god, the world that this movie creates of the great before and the great the great beyond, so good, so beautiful to look at. The score, I re-listened to the score a while ago, and man, I forgot just how ethereal it is. Like, it really does feel like you're in another world with that music. The sound design and sound editing and mixing is so good. And even the part that I thought the movie was just going to grind to a halt, which was, the scene where he turns into, the segment of the film where he turns into a cat or gets put into a cat's body. It's not as bad as you'd think it'd be. It's actually, in fact, they don't even focus on the joke element on it most of the time. It's not like he goes, "Oh, look at me, I'm a cat, meow," or tries to do anything. No, they do focus a lot on the dramatic aspects of what's going on with Joe's life. It's just oh my god, and there's so many scenes where it's just letting the music and the visuals tell the story. And again, unlike The Good Dinosaur, this movie does visual storytelling so perfectly. Honestly, I think out of all of Pixar's films, Soul is the most geared towards adults, because I don't think any kid is going to understand what soul is supposed to mean. But man, oh god, Soul is just perfection. It is what I want out of Pixar. It's funny, it's creative, it makes you think a lot, and especially in a year like 2020, we really, really needed Soul. We needed this film to come out and make us feel better about life. So yeah, absolute S tier. going up there, right, like, yeah, and so it's no longer like a holy trinity, it's a holy quadrinity, because Soul is just that phenomenal, all right? And then we get to Luca, which is an interesting film. Now, this movie does have a very strong fan base behind it, you know? So, like, Luca does have a very strong fan base, but I'm not gonna lie, I feel like Luca was a little bit too shallow for me. Like, I do, and when it, like, here's the thing, a lot of people do have this headcanon where it's like, oh, maybe Luca and Alberto are, you know, crushing on each other. And I wish the movie just did that. I wish it was a little bit more apparent, but, you know, because, you know, Pixar, they want to play it safe, because, you know, some countries don't like gay couples. It's like, nope, we can't do that. So it's just this kind of, like, surface level friendship thing, but it's clear that they want to do more with it. But, like, I don't know, especially around the end of the film, where it's like supposed to be really emotional and Luca's crying. It's like, this is something that I feel like would happen more with a crush than like a friend you just made. Like, I don't like the attachment there. I don't think, like, with how they are playing out, this is not really the kind of reaction or emotion I feel like someone in this kind of friend position would have. But I mean, then again, I'm not here to speak for people, obviously, but it's like, this is obvious, like, it's so obvious that this is meant to be a crush, but they just weren't able to do it, and because of those limitations, it kind of makes the film a bit weaker for me. So I'd probably put Luca, I'm gonna put Luca in C tier. It's not great, it's really not, but yeah. But yeah, whatever. And then we get to Turning Red. Turning Red is interesting because, like, there's some divisiveness. A lot of younger people really love this movie, and a lot of older people think that's very, very annoying. I think Turning Red's great. I thought it was a very interesting style for Pixar to go for in terms of animation. I really liked, like, the extreme kind of stuff that the animation was doing in this film, because it really felt like Pixar wasn't, like, it really felt new for Pixar. Like, it was that they were kind of elevating their style, and man, oh man, like, it's really funny. Like, the way they show puberty in this film is really, really funny. And yeah, it's yet it's funny, but it also makes sense. It's like, ah, man, I kind of get that feeling, and it's like, yeah, I like. It's just a really fun time. It's great, and especially the end. It's just, like, so insane. I'm like, Jesus Christ. And again, it's really funny, but it's also like, I kind of get it. I get why this is going on. But this is just insanity. But yeah, Turning Red, I think it's great. Where would I put Turning Red? I'd probably put Turning Red between Finding Dory and A Bug's Life. Yeah. Like, Turning Red is a lot of fun. I really love Turning Red. And then we get to Pixar. Like, no, obviously, yeah, this is all Pixar. But next we get to Lightyear. I'm not gonna lie, I was very excited for this movie. Like, especially from, like, the moment that they said, oh, wait, they're doing, like, when they said, you know, we've been wanting to make this movie for years, ever since we first came up with Buzz Lightyear, and now we're finally getting the chance to make it. And especially with that teaser, that star with David Bowie's Starman, I was like, okay, this looks fantastic. Let's go. I'm excited for this. And then the movie comes out, and at the time I did love it. But ever since then, it's not as good. I do think it's good. I don't think it's a bad Pixar movie. But, however, I do feel like there is a lot of potential that could have been there, but they just didn't really explore it all that much. Like, for one, the planet that they're on is very boring. It is a very boring planet, and you would think for a movie about Buzz Lightyear, it would look a lot better. I mean, obviously, like, the actual, like, you know, rendering is fantastic and stuff, but in terms of, like, the design of everything, it could have been a lot more creative. It could have been a lot more creative with the designs of all this. And Emperor Zurg, at the time I liked what they were doing with him, but now I kind of realize, wait, no, like, this is This is a bit of a mistake. This is a mistake of theirs. Which again, I think it could, like, this could have worked. Like that, like, I feel like, okay, no, I do think Lightyear overall works, but it works fine. It works fine, but maybe a little bit above fine, because there are some very, like, again, like a lot of the stuff about, you know, Buzz Lightyear in this film is like, yeah, that's really cool. Like, I do really like Chris Evans as Buzz Lightyear. The team, okay, admittedly, the team isn't really the most exciting. Yeah, I guess, like, Lightyear's gonna be the one of those movies that doesn't really hold up all that well. I don't know. I'll probably say... I'll probably put it below Onward. Yeah, because, like, Lightyear is, I think it's probably, like... Again, I think it's fine, but it's like, you know... They could have, like, there could have been a lot more done that would have been really, really interesting. And then the final film in this list, Elemental. You know, Elemental, you know, Pixar, you know, yeah, obviously, yeah, it's all Pixar. Yeah, I didn't really think Elemental was all that great. I thought it was very, very mid. Like, again, bad world building, bad jokes, like, it's a very cut and dry message, and okay, granted, there are some interesting things about the message. I don't know why. I guess maybe it's just because, like, upon really thinking about it, it's like a movie about elements is just not really that interesting. Maybe it's just that. Maybe it's just like elements are just not very interesting characters. Because, like, okay, well, you have, like, Inside Out, where it's regarding people's emotions. You know, it's all revolving around the emotions of people, and so inherently, that's going to be fascinating. And then you have Soul, which is about people's souls, the experience of life itself. That's fascinating. There's nothing really human about Elements. There's just nothing really relatable about Elements. It's like, ah, man, I cry a lot, so I kind of feel like water. What? I don't know. It's just not very... Really, the more I think about it, it's like, why did they make this movie? It's just not a good idea for a film. It's just like, eh. And the romance, especially, is not very interesting, especially since I still don't know why, like, Ember and Wade are together. I don't know. Oh, and oh my god, Wade especially is a very annoying character. Like, the way he'll just cry, like, oh, like, so over the top, and then his whole family, it's really annoying. It's not as annoying as, like, the fucking dinosaur in The Good Dinosaur, where all he does is scream, like, ah! It's like, it's just like, but yeah, Wade is a pretty annoying character. Again, Elemental is just very, very mid. Nothing really remarkable about it at all. So yeah, I'll put Elemental in C tier, kind of a low C tier. And like I said, I have not seen Inside Out 2. I really want to see Inside Out 2, but yeah, but I'll once I see it, I'll update you in the community notes. Or community post. Yeah, actually, no, not community notes, community post. To see, or on my Twitter, you can check those out. But yeah, this is where I would rank the Pixar films, in my opinion. I think Finding Nemo is the best, either that or The Incredibles. One of those. And I really don't like The Good Dinosaur. Everyone was right in telling me The Good Dinosaur sucks. And yeah, wow. But now I want to pass the question off to you. What are your rankings for the Pixar films? Which ones do you think are the best? Which do you think are the worst? Let me know in the comments below what you think, and consider hitting that subscribe button, because if you don't, Pixar is going to make a sequel to The Good Dinosaur.